This 32-year-old doctor was making about $300,000 per year, and yet he was still living paycheck to paycheck and struggling financially. And so if you want to learn how this happened and what we did to improve his financial situation, then keep on watching. Hey, my name is Michael Lee Kim, and I'm a personal finance coach, CPA, and TEDx speaker. And today we're performing a real-life financial audit for a 32-year-old doctor living and working in Toronto, Canada, making about $300,000 per year. And we started working in early 2024. He has a total net worth of $55,000, with total assets of $130,000, consisting of some liquid cash in his checking account and emergency fund, as well as some investments in his TFSA and RSP. He also has total liabilities of $75,000 from his student loans, but it's at a relatively low interest rate of 2%. In the next 3 years, the doctor wants to buy his own condo, which will require a down payment of about $200,000. And by the time he's 60, he also wants to be able to retire, which means he'll need about $2.5 million. After making some assumptions over the rate of return he can expect per year from investing, he would have to save $5,900 per month or $71,000 per year. And so the biggest problem that this doctor faced is that he's nowhere near his required monthly and annual savings. Although his total income is $290,000 per year, he's paying about $122,000 just in taxes. And his expenses add up to $140,000 per year, leaving him only $27,000 in savings. And so as you can probably see, the biggest obstacles preventing him from achieving his financial goals is number one, his expenses, about 48% of his total income, and number two, taxes, which adds up to 42% of his total income. And so let me walk you through on what we did to overcome these problems. The first thing that we did was try to reduce his expenses. We first took a deep dive in his monthly expenses to figure out why his expenses were so high. For 2 months, I got him to track his monthly expenses in my budget tracker, and this is what we found out. And so his biggest expenses were from rent, his car lease, and eating out. This was a typical case of lifestyle inflation, which is when the more money that you make, the more money that you spend. This is how even famous celebrities who make millions of dollars per year can go bankrupt in an instant. And so I had to be really honest with him. I showed him that with his current spending habits, he wouldn't be able to achieve his financial goals. And so I asked him, are you willing to make some changes in your life? And as an ambitious individual, he was like, of course. You see, the reason why people tend to spend more money isn't because they have a spending problem. It's because they don't see the big picture impact of their spending habits. But once they get to see the long-term impact of their spending habits, suddenly spending money doesn't seem so appetizing. And so to reduce his expenses, we had to focus on the biggest ticket items that would actually make a difference. You know, I don't really believe in penny pinching and really restricting yourself just to save a few $100. What we really want to focus on are the big ticket items that will actually make a difference in the long run. And in this case, the first biggest ticket item was rent. The doctor was paying about $3,200 per month for a 2-bedroom luxury condo in downtown Toronto just for himself. He decided that he honestly didn't need 2 rooms, and so he decided to downsize to a 1-bedroom condo in downtown Toronto for about $2,200 per month, saving him $1,000 per month. The doctor was also paying about $800 per month to lease his car. Now, the doctor realized that he honestly doesn't really need a car in downtown Toronto. He lives 10 minutes away from work, and he honestly doesn't go out of the city too often. And so although there are some conveniences of having a car, he decided that if he needed it, he would just take an Uber or a taxi instead. And so by ending his car lease, he would save about $800 per month. The other big expense that we decided to reduce was eating out. You see, the doctor had a really demanding job where oftentimes he would have to stay late at night. And he kind of just got into the bad habit of never cooking and just grabbing takeout or Uber Eats. And so the doctor decided that he would try to reduce his eating out budget by buying more groceries, meal prepping on his days off so that he would have food throughout the week. And so we decreased his eating out budget by $1,000 per month. and increase his grocery bill by $300 per month. We were also able to cut down on some other expenses like his expensive gym membership, changing his internet plan, and on entertainment. And so here's a summary of the before and after expenses, with a total decrease of $3,300 per month. The second biggest obstacle that he faced was the amount of taxes that he was paying. Every year, he was paying over $120,000 just in taxes, which was about 42% of his income. So we overcame this problem through using registered accounts. The RSP and the FHSA are registered accounts that you can use in order to reduce your taxable income. And your taxable income is the total amount of taxes that the government is allowed to tax you on. And so before we started working together, the doctor was only contributing about 5% of his income into his RSP because he needed the income to cover his high expenses. But when we reduced his expenses, he now had more money to contribute to his RSP and FHSA. And so we decided to max out both his RSP and FHSA. The max contribution room of your RSP is the lower of 18% of your income in the previous year, or $31,560. And so since he made more than $170,000 in 2023, his total RSP contribution room for the year would be $31,000. And for the FHSA, the max contribution room per year is $8,000. And so in total, this adds up to a max contribution room of $39,000. And so without using any registered accounts, he would have to pay over $120,000 in taxes with a 42% tax rate. But once he was able to contribute over $39,000 into his registered account, we reduced the amount of taxes that he needed to pay by $20,000. And so after we worked together, he was able to reduce his expenses by $40,000 per year. We reduced the amount of taxes that he paid by $20,000 per year. And so he's able to save an extra $61,000 with a total of $89,000 per year. And now he's on track to buy his condo within 3 years and also retire by 60. Now, if you want a financial audit just like this, where you get my eyes and expertise on your specific financial situation to help you achieve your financial goals, then apply to get a free financial audit with me. We have limited spots, so to apply, just go to mycolleaguekim.com/audit. You see, a lot of people say, if only I was making more money, all of my financial problems would go away. But as you can see from this financial audit, making more money doesn't solve all of your financial problems. Money is a tool, and just because you have more of it doesn't suddenly mean that you know how to use it. The doctor was only able to achieve all of his financial goals once he learned how to, number one, create a financial plan to figure out how much money he needed to achieve all of his financial goals. Number two, reducing his expenses by focusing on the big ticket items that would actually make a difference. And lastly, learning how to pay less taxes so that he could keep more of his hard-earned money. And now if you're wondering about how to actually allocate your money between your RSP, TFSA, and FHSA, then watch this video right over here, where I perform a real-life financial audit to help her figure out, where do I put my money?